Alright, so I have entered this Euro USD trade since the London session started in the morning. Alright, so and as you can see on the screen right now that this was my entry, right? So okay, so this is my entry. In fact, I think that the entry was around this zone here. Yeah, around this zone. So I entered around this zone. So what is the time by then? So that was around 9:30 a.m. in the morning. And I actually have been envisioning this trade. Okay, so and I would like to actually explain my trade idea to you. Okay, so and I actually started from the higher time frame, which is 1 hour. Okay, as you can see on the screen right now. But before that, I think I should show you the real like the higher time frame picture, so that you are going to understand what I'm actually doing right there. Okay, so this is Euro USD and this is the 4 hour time frame, right? And if you look at the 4 hour time frame, we are going to observe that price is actually in a downtrend. Price has been creating lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs. Okay, so based on this higher time frame narrative, I know for sure that price might shift to the downside. All right, but currently I'm actually trading. I'm actually in a position of buy. Okay, but let me just show you the trade idea. Okay, so if I go down to 4 hour time frame again, you are going to see on this screen that currently price has already respected this daily supply zone. So I got this supply zone from the daily time frame, and currently you can see that price has already retested this supply zone right here, right? So after that, I went down to my 1 hour time frame to look at how price has actually reacted. So when I got to 1 hour time frame, I actually observed that price was creating higher highs and higher low. Then this is the next high. Okay, so and from that I actually mark up my 1 hour demand zone, as you can see on the screen right here. So I mark up my 1 hour demand zone with this selling candle right here. Okay, so after I mark up my 1 hour demand zone, then I actually, because I know that on this 1 hour time frame right now, price was creating higher highs and higher low, right? Then it created another high, then this is the next low. So the next thing that I'm expecting price to do on this 1 hour time frame is to create another. It might not be a new high that's going to break this, that's going to break this level, but I know for sure that price is going to actually reverse at least a little bit to the upside before it starts shifting to the downside. All right, so based on this 1 hour time frame right now, I went down to my 15 minutes time frame. Okay, so when I got to my 15 minutes time frame, I actually observed that price was creating price was creating lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, and lower low around here. Okay, so when I observed price created a new lower low right there. So okay, so and I also observed that price already retested this 1 hour demand zone. Okay, you can see that price already retested this 1 hour demand zone right there. So after that, I went down to 5 minutes time frame. Yeah, I went down to 5 minutes time frame, and this is where I actually observed how price was actually reacting at this 1 hour demand zone that I told you about. Okay, so after that, I actually see that. So I actually followed the trend of this selling momentum, and I observed that price was creating lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower highs. Then price created a new low right here, which gave us a break of structure, which is the 5 minutes break of structure you are seeing here. So after I observed that there was a break of structure right there, and I see that after price created a new low, price simply find its way all the way up here, breaking this lower high. Okay, so when price break this high, that was when I realized that price is shifting from this selling momentum to buying momentum. All right, so that is how I knew, because I know that anything that is going to happen on the higher time frame must have first happen on the lower time frame, and which is what I've already marked out now. Okay, so this 5 minutes break of structure identify that price is in a selling momentum right there, but this 5 minutes market shift right there, it's actually identified that sellers has already lose their power in the financial market, and buyers has already taken over price. So buyers has been creating higher highs and higher low, higher highs and higher low. Can you see that? So price is currently creating higher highs and higher low, higher highs and higher low. And another thing is that, so that is my trade idea. Okay, that is my trade idea. And another thing that I actually observe on this Euro USD is that it is too slow. Like, oh, Euro USD is too slow, man. It is too slow. It is too slow. Like, imagine price has been, it has not really moved. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. Yeah. Alright, so what I'm trying to explain right now is that this trade has taken me about, let me look at the hours. This is about 8 hours and 10 minutes. Okay, so and what I'm trying to say is that this trade has already been running for 8 hours 10 minutes, and it is yet to reach my TP, right? So, and I think that I just have to learn to wait for this trade to hit my TP. And I did not actually, in fact, based on my last trade, which I over leveraged on that trade, I have learned my lesson. And on this trade right now, I risk about 0.5% of my account. In fact, I'm in a drawdown, but that doesn't mean that is the end of the world. So we just have to keep on moving and moving and moving. So I risked about 0.5, which is about $50 to $60 thereabout. So I reached about $50 to $60 on this trade, and I'm just hoping for the best. Okay, so, and I'm going to actually make sure to follow this trade very well, because based on what I explained on this trade, I might be looking for a sell opportunity if it actually shows up. Okay, so I may look for sell opportunities, and but before then, I just hope that I just know that this trade is going to run to my TP. That's one thing that I know for sure. So I'm going to also ensure that I follow this trade back to back, so that you can see the real trading session. All right, so probably when price break this high right there, okay, so I'm going to come back here and just explain few things that I'm discovering. All right, so finally I eventually take my profit on this trade, and I made about $150. Yeah, in fact, yesterday morning that I placed this trade, I have strong belief that this is going to be a win trade. I knew it. I know that this is going to be a win trade. I knew it. And leaving this trade to run till this morning, like, that is not a day trading. That is swing trading, because I leave it for I leave it for more than that is swing trading. And I didn't even have a doubt that this is not going to be a win trade, because even though I've been having losing streak, and as well that I know the reason why I was losing. Okay, that doesn't stop the fact that when I see my setup, that I should not trade it. Okay, so eventually this trade took me about 24 hours and 1 hour before it take profits. So I know that some traders out there usually say that we should risk probably 2 to 1 reward to risk, right? But one thing that I have learned in trading is about liquidity concept, which is very important. And what I mean by that is that I know that currently I am learning how to actually, spot my liquidity zone, spot my market shifts, spot my valid break of structure, and to actually get the right entry. Okay, so that is what I have been learning so far. Even though my account is in a drawdown, but right now, I believe that I have break even right now. So I'm not in haste to trade this. I'm not in haste to trade this. What is it called? My funded account. Okay. So, but I want to actually, because I know that trading is going to actually expose the true self of a trader before you actually make profits. So, and really, I just know that this is going to be this is going to be a new experience. Like, it's going to be a new experience for me, and I'm so eager to actually trade. Like, I'm so eager to execute my trading processes. So traders, this is just a simple strategy that I traded, and it is called top-down analysis. And if you watch the video from the beginning, it is very, very simple, because I ensure that I spot my 1 hour break of structure. As you can see here, this is my 1 hour break of structure here. Then under my 1 hour break of structure to the upside, I ensure that I mark up my demand zone. Okay, so when I mark up my demand zone, I ensure that I went down to the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so what I went to do on at 5 minutes time frame is that I said it earlier that anything that is going to happen on higher time frame must have first happened on the lower time frame. And because I envision that price is going to sell, okay, so I know that before it sell, it would have shifted from this selling momentum to buying opportunities. Okay, and if it's going to shift to buying opportunities, it's going to happen on the lower time frame. It is something that I have learned, and I believe that currently I am applying the trading processes. So that is just the understanding. Anything that is going to happen on the higher time frame must have first happen on the lower time frame. And the lower time frame that I usually look at, my market shift or change of character, as some trader knows, is that I want to actually look out for my break of structure to the downside. Price is actually selling. Okay, and you can see that I actually mark up my 5-minute break of structure here. After that, I observe that after price make 5 minutes break of structure, I see that price was moving to the upside and eventually break this lower highs. And that is when I knew that, oh, price has already shifted from selling to buying. Okay, that is how I know. That is just liquidity and supply and demand trading strategy. So, and immediately price make a market shift around there, I waited for price to come and retest. So what I simply did is that this is the origin that caused this market shift. Okay, this is the origin. This is the selling candle that actually failed before the buyers took over price to break this high. So what I simply did is that I waited for price to come and retest this 5-minute demand zone, and immediately from there I actually entered the trade. And another confirmation is that I see that there is a strong candle here. Can you see this particular candle here? This is a very strong buying candle, and that actually aligns with it actually aligns with my trading process, and that is just how I took the trade. And the trade actually went well. Like, it went well. In fact, it went well, and I'm so glad that I make this profits. So this is just my I just want to be sincere with my trading career, because I have a long time mindset for trading, and this is something that I think most traders doesn't do as well, because in trading you must ensure that you have long time mindset. If you have long time mindset, regardless of the losses that you might have on your way to your profitability, there is no way that you are not going to win. And I know that I'm going to win in this trading career. I know that because I have that strong belief. I have envisioned envisioned where I am going on this journey, and so I am ready to just experience this journey. So traders, this is what it means to be a profitable trader, and I just hope that the reason why I'm doing this is that I just want you to actually learn how, if you don't know anything about trading before, this is how I'm being of help to you to actually look at the real emotion behind placing a trade and following the trade step by step to take profit. So really, I just hope that somebody find this video and this video is helpful to someone out there. And if my video has been helpful to you, please drop a comment and drop a like, okay, and drop a follow as well. I will really appreciate that a lot. So traders, this is what it means to be a profitable trader, and I hope that everybody that is trading, that is learning how to trade, we all are going to make to be successful in this trading career. So until I see you next time, take care of yourself.